For those of you who I don't know, my name is Lindsay Gleason. I'm the Assistant Director here at the Community Foundation of the New River Valley. And we put on these third Thursday workshops almost every month, usually on the third Thursday of the month. That's the name, but sometimes it moves around if it needs to. But these are free workshops that we offer that are aimed at topics that would be of interest to nonprofit leaders, but anyone is welcome at any time to join us. And we tend to have them quarterly in person and the rest virtually on Zoom. So just a couple of housekeeping items. This, like all of our virtual workshops, we record these and put them on our website so people can go back to them later. So this will be available within hopefully a few days after the meeting. I can send you the recording. So if you need to leave earlier, if you want to return to the content, you have that option. And then we have closed captions on today. They're automated captions, so they do a pretty decent job of capturing what we're saying. But the goal of having those on is if you're someone who's deaf or hard of hearing, it's helpful for those folks, but it's also helpful if you're in a loud room or if you can't have sound on for some reason. So just we like to have those for our online meetings on. And next month's third Thursday will be it will be another virtual session. It will be from 9 to 10 on Thursday, August 15th. And we're working on finalizing the topic there, but it's going to be something around board of directors. So a topic related to working with your board. So once we have that register ready to go, we'll add it to our website and send it out via our newsletter. So all that to say, thanks again for joining, and I'm gonna just do a brief intro of Lisa. I'm sure many people on the call know Lisa. She's worked in the nonprofit space in our region for a long time, including a stint at the Community Foundation. So she is a longtime friend of the foundation. And right now, part of what she's doing is working with the NRV TimeBank. So she wants to put in a plug for that. She can share a little bit about it, but we're just really excited to have Lisa and have her share her expertise all about Canva. So please take it away, Lisa.
Thank you, Lindsay. Welcome, everybody. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everybody for joining today. I have a couple of requests. One again, I just want to say thank you for all the hard work everybody is doing in the New River Valley. Lindsay mentioned that, in a past life, I worked at the Community Foundation and worked with Laura. And actually, Jess was on the board of directors when I was there for a while before she was director. And had the opportunity to see the work that many of you were doing then. Some of you and your nonprofits are new to me, so I'm always excited to see great, smart, innovative, creative people doing good work. So thank you for doing that. My second request today is would folks turn on their cameras? Because it's really hard to do a workshop online without being able to see people's faces. Because I want it to be interactive at some level. And I've done a lot of online training and workshops and that kind of thing. And I look to see what people, if somebody's got a question or how they're doing today. The other thing is I would encourage everybody here to put your name, nonprofit in the chat and share, where you're sort of dialing in from. And think of this group as a cohort. I've been pondering how to leverage this space for you in a way that makes sense, that extends beyond our time together. And one of the things that was really great when I was working at the Community Foundation is there was at that time, I don't know if Laura and Lindsay can chime in here, there used to be a kind of a Community Foundation listserv and user, staff group, that kind of thing. And if you had a question, you could send it out to your peers and get information back. So I was kind of thinking about Canva and all the nonprofit work that you're doing, and maybe there could be a Canva user group in our region that would be something where we could help each other with it. So a couple of thoughts there. I'm going to just share my screen and sort of ping back and forth with you around questions you had and see if we can tackle those sort of one by one. In the short amount of time we have, we won't be able to get to everybody's questions, but I hope to touch on a number of those. So I'm going to share my screen. And I know the way it's gonna look, I'm down on the bottom corner of your screen. If that does not work for you in some fashion, let me know. Like if my being on the screen at the same time is obstructing the view, just let me know. And okay, I'm looking at the chat real quick. All right, so the reason I'm looking at the chat is because the folks that are here, I want to touch on your questions first of all. So I see Rice and Beans, Friends of Animal Control, Volunteer Montgomery, Child Advocacy Center, the NRV, Pembroke Women's Club, Blacksburg Master Corral, Beans and Rice. Okay. All right. All right. So in the interest of, again, tackling your questions that for the folks that are here first, can you put your top challenge that you have with Canva or the thing that you hope to leave here today knowing in the chat? Again, I have your questions, but I want to make sure that I'm touching on who's in the room because we had, hey Ken, good to have you here. I want to make sure that we hit on what you want to tackle. So go ahead and put the number one thing you'd like to learn today before we exit in the hour. Go ahead and put that in the chat. And I'll start with whatever question comes up first. Okay, we've got a new user to Canva. And as those start coming into the chat, tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to go to the home page on Canva. And okay, so let's see, I'm looking basics, resize pieces, new to Canva. Okay, so I'm just going to assume everybody really is kind of new to the software and what it is and what you can do with it. So Canva is a fantastic business case story. Basically, it started with a woman and a friend of hers who wanted to sort of democratize graphic design and marketing that tended to be really kind of a challenging thing for a lot of folks to do on their own. So she had this idea and was trying to get investors and nobody was interested. Long story short, it's a multi-billion-dollar company with customers, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of users around the world. So it's a really great story, hero's journey, much like the work that you're doing. So one of the things they really wanted to do was make sure that nonprofits had access to this software. And as of this year, within the last 6 months, they offer Canva free to all nonprofits. So if you go to Canva on the website and you look for nonprofits, you can apply for Canva Pro for free. What that means is you can do all the things that a professional graphic designer could do on Canva. As far as the eligibility guidelines, I went through your nonprofits and looked. I think all of you would probably qualify for Canva Pro. What they've changed in the last year is that if you're in education, you do not get a free Canva Pro account, you get a discount. So I had a Canva Pro account during time when I was working at Virginia Tech a few years ago, but now that has changed. So I'm on Canva free right at this moment because I need to apply for the nonprofit version for the New River Valley TimeBank. So all you have to do is search Canva for nonprofits and you'll see how to apply. There'll be a button to apply there. And then you will notice on that page that it takes you to a bunch of templates and toolkits that you can use in order to get started. It's as simple as picking one like this one and saying use templates, and then it throws you into a whole package that's already got layouts and designs that you can edit and make your own. So let's see. How many of you have a social media right now? Raise your hand. All right. Looks like half of you do. So let's say you want to do an Instagram post. So you click on this template and then you would click customize. And then it brings you into the software. And at this point, I'm guessing based on all the nonprofits I saw, nobody was raising money for foxes, but I did see a couple of animal support groups around cats and dogs. So let's say this looks okay for an Instagram post or a Facebook post you want to put out and let people know how much money you raised during Give Local as part of the community foundation, and you want to say thank you. You can change anything about this. You can change the colors, you can change the photograph, or you can change the font or the logo that's in here to your own. So that all happens at the left. It opens up a all of the tools over here. So let's say we just want to change the photograph and we want to put a puppy in there because who doesn't like puppies, right? So you have a choice at this point to pick just graphics, like a cartoon or photos or even videos, and these will play on social media, so that would work fine. So let's just say a photograph at this point, and we want a puppy. If you see this little thing that says Pro with a crown on it, that means you'd have to pay for it if you were a business for an upgrade. Or in your case, when you apply, once you get your nonprofit account, you'd be able to use that as well. So you would have access to all the images here. Like I said, I don't have my nonprofit account set up, but there are plenty, I mean, tens of thousands that are, you can get started with a free account. So let's say we'll do this one. So I'll delete this picture that's in here, and you right click on your mouse and you just choose delete. And now it's gone. And then you can drag and drop this one in here and resize it to fit the space. Now you can see it doesn't look as good as it did before because it's overlapping some of the design. And that's because there are layers in design software. So you have to move it so it's behind the other objects. The way you do that is you click on position and then you just move it backward. And you can tell now the text is in front of it, but we still have got a little bit over here that seems to be in the way. So we move it backwards one more time and one more time. We want to see more of the puppy, so we'll raise it up here. I'm just going to pause. Any questions about that in general? And just shout, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask questions as we go along. Does that make sense? Head nods. Okay. All right. So then you look over here and there is a graphic that has multiple elements to it. So it's got a little mountainscape. Somebody asked about how to change colors. When you have something selected up here, it gives you all the choices of things you could do with that piece of the artwork that you have selected. So we can change the color. This was one of the questions somebody asked. So there's a little mountain here that's graphic that you can't see because currently it's white, and white on this background doesn't show up. So I'm going to change it to black and you should be able to see it all there. I'm going to change the text as well. Again, it says text color here. You click that and we can make it whatever color we want. Let's see if we can get this here. Make this a little bigger. So you can see we changed the color of the mountain and the text. We changed the photograph. Multiple items in this one design. Okay, so the other thing is this mountain plus this text are grouped together. So that in Canva, you can take multiple items and group them together, because then you can move them around the page. But it may be that you decide that you don't want them grouped together anymore, so you would just click ungroup. So now you can take the mountain, move it wherever you want, make it big for Mountain Valley Humane Society, you know, whatever you want to do, and then you can move the text to a different position. Obviously, graphically, this doesn't look good here, but my only point is that you can group and ungroup objects and text, right? So that can come in handy, because now if I want these two things to be together, I just select each of them, and I can select more things at one time by just holding down the Shift key. And then I can group those things by clicking group, and then I can move them all around. Any questions about any of that? All right. Let's go to something different here. So when you get your Canva account and you log in, this is the home page. This is what you will see. And you'll notice that there's a search engine at the top of the page, and you can search for absolutely anything in terms of types of templates. You know, one of the things I like to do is create Zoom backgrounds so that they match whatever's going on in terms of the meeting I'm having, or the company, or the nonprofit I'm working for. So I always have to do it here to find it. And you can see Zoom events, virtual backgrounds. So you might want to do this if you're having an event. And then you look, and there's all sorts of free backgrounds that you can pick. Pick this one, and then you can change the name on it and that sort of thing. So you pick a template. You can edit the text by just selecting it like you would in Word and typing your name. And then somebody in the questions had asked on the best ways to download and get different sizes. So this is up here at the right, there's a share button. When you click this, you have a multitude of options. The really great thing about Canva is you can seamlessly integrate it with a lot of other pieces of software, social media, different types of sizing, formats, PDF, photo files, all sorts of things. You can also create a link for something and make it public to your audience without even taking it out of Canva. So right here is a public view link. So I click that, and I create a public view link for this, and I click copy, and then I can just put it in the chat here. And when you click that link, you'll go on the internet and see this. So I just show you that as an example. It doesn't even ever have to leave Canva if you want. You can keep all your assets, your marketing assets in one place, and just share them through links in Canva if you wanted to. But in lieu of that, most of us like to have control over what we're doing, making sure that we can share things like PDFs or files via email. I know some folks talked about doing that. So then there's a download button here on below the one I just clicked. So you click that, and then you get options on what format do you want to download it in. A PNG file is something that you can download it and send it to somebody in an email if you want. You can resize this file. It's really nice for printing. That's why it says suggested. But you can always do a JPEG, again, which it says best for sharing. So it gives you a little tutoring here as to which options you might choose for different things. A PDF, which is, as we all know, we're familiar with PDFs. They're best for documents and emailing. PDF print, keep this in mind. I talked to a graphic designer that works with a printing company recently. I mentioned Canva and how much I like it. And they're like, oh, Canva, it gives us trouble. And I think what happens is somebody might create a standard PDF, for instance, and PDF for printing is a different level of resolution on all the text and photographs. And you really have to make sure if you want to print something, talk to your printer, whoever you're working with, your print shop, FedEx, or one of the other ones locally owned here, like WordsPrint or Christiansburg Printing, and make sure with them you understand what settings they need your final file to be in, what format, so that they can do their job and help you make sure everything looks great. So as you can see, you have all these different choices. We'll just download this as a PNG file. And you'll see it just tells you it's gone to my downloads folder. Any questions about any of that? All right. Somebody asked about how to resize pieces after they've been created. So there are a lot of ways to do that. The really great thing with Canva is they've added a whole bunch of artificial intelligence tools, and they have this resize and magic switch, which basically says, resize your design into whatever format you need. So this right now is the perfect number of inches and pixels for a Zoom background. But I can say resize, and I can pick it and say, change it to make it the right size for a LinkedIn post. And so it says, try it free for 30 days because I don't have this feature on my software right now. However, it's included in Canva Pro for nonprofits, so you would be able to do it. Let me see, I'll just see if it'll let me try it free right now for 30 days. Get that going. No, that's going to take longer than I want to do. Let's get back over here. Okay. Another question that came up was how to translate things into different languages. So for some of you, this may never come up. But if you're working with an audience where we have, you have clients or people in the community that speak Spanish, for instance, or Chinese, something like that, you can change the language used in any of the text of anything you create. So this was something I created years ago for Dialogue on Race. And let's say we want to make sure that the people reading it can read it in Spanish. And grab the text. Maybe we'll have to do it over here. All right, so it says enough is enough. So I select the text, and then all the way at the bottom of the toolbar, the drop-down list, it says translate text. You just click that, and then you select the language. We'll choose Spanish this time. Right there. And then it gives you even the tone of voice that you would like that in. Original, professional, friendly, you know, conversational. So I'll put conversational. I've selected the text, and again, it gives you the opportunity to select all the text. So we'll do that. We'll select all the text in the entire document here and just click translate. And a few seconds later, everything has been changed into Spanish. I'm not sure you can see that well, so I'm going to bring it up. Oh, nope, it changed it to, it just changed it to conversational. Okay, I misunderstood that. If you make a mistake in Canva, it's super easy to recover. You just click the undo button and it'll take you back. This was one I was playing with for the Giles Community Garden. And again, we'll try the translate thing. So we're going to translate it to Spanish. And you can see that it translated to Moranos Crecer. Watch us grow. Okay. We'll look and see some of the other things. Oh, somebody asked about changing colors. So in this flyer, you can see that the background is green. So all you have to do is take your cursor and click on any element in Canva in your design, and it will show you what's going on. So right here's a button that shows the color is now red. All you have to do is click that, and you can pick any color you want. The really great thing about this is you can create a brand kit. So as Lindsay said earlier, I work with the New River Valley TimeBank, and these are our colors. So I can change that background to any one from our logo. So I'll just say change it to purple. And now everything that was dark red is purple on the design. As far as the background, same sort of thing. I just click the color and I can change everything to the sort of orange color. Super quick, super is easy. And if I think, well, you know, I can't change Giles Community Gardens flyer to our colors, that's not okay. So again, you just click this back button and they're right back to where they started, to their own color scheme. Any questions about anything on that? Very quiet group you have, Lindsay. Thursday mornings must be a really quiet time for folks.
I think everyone's taking it in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
I was just gonna say it's because I'm just soaking it all in. It's just really great information.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm helping folks get the things they want. So one of the things that I've used in multiple environments for startup businesses I work with, small companies, nonprofits, is creating QR codes. And that was a question somebody had. So it seems like during the pandemic that came up as being used more and more because everybody wanted contactless ways of looking at a restaurant menu or something of that nature. What I think is interesting is that has extended beyond the pandemic. A lot of places, they find it, restaurants in particular, an easy way to update their menu without reprinting, right? So they just, you have a QR code at your table. For the nonprofit world, what I think is lovely about that is if you have an in-person event, you can put a tent card on every table. And Lindsay, I think you guys might have done this at an event for the Community Foundation not too long ago. But you can have people sitting down at tables and there's just a little card there with a QR code. It says, if you want to donate right now, you can do it, right? By scanning that code. And then it takes them to your page of how to donate. Whether that it can take them to any website at all, right? Anywhere on the internet. So the way to create a QR code, so we've got the Giles Community Garden. We're gonna just use them as our example here. The way you would do that in Canva is you go to the left-hand side and there's a button here that says apps. So you just click that and it brings up all sorts of apps. And I think there are hundreds that will work with Canva, that they've got collaborations and sort of consider them key partners of Canva. So again, left-hand side, little thing that says apps, and then you scroll down to the bottom, and these are things that you can do with an app. One of those, it says popular, is QR code. So you click that button, and all you have to do is put the URL in that you want to create the QR code for. So I'm going to go to Giles Community Garden. Let me see if I know I have them bookmarked here. Doesn't really matter. We're going to pick beans and rice because beans and rice is here in the audience today. So all I have to do is go to Beans and Rice's website and select the URL, the website address, copy that, go back to Canva, close out these. All right. So it says QR code, add a URL and we'll create a QR code for you. So I've got copied Beans and Rice's website, put that in. It's got beansandrice.org. And then I click the button that says generate code. And there it is. It even drops it right into the flyer for me. Now, not so helpful in the sense of design, right? It is too big and it's right in the middle of the flyer. So let's say we want to put it up near this fantastic guy's face so that people look, the eye travels to his face in the garden there, and we put it right up next to his head, and we keep it large enough so it's easy for folks to scan it. But if you feel like it's still too big, all you have to do is grab a corner and you can make it as small or as large as you want. The really fun thing too is you can change the color of the QR code to match your brand design if you want to do that as well. There's some other things you can do to add to this design, as it were. When it comes to something like a QR code, let's see if I can get back up to the top over here. If I click design, let's say, I'm going to say we create a brand new design. And I put in here in the search engine QR code, brings up a business card. And then it gives me a whole bunch of choices of how I might incorporate a QR code in a business card. And the really great thing about this that I'm seeing used at networking events all over the place is people will create a digital business card. So let's say we created this one. And now I've got this business card. So I create a QR code for my LinkedIn profile, let's say, put an image up here of things that I do, a little bit of this, and then I save this and put it in my photos on my phone. And I go somewhere and I just have to pop it open on my phone and I can show somebody, they can scan that QR code. It can take them to my website. It can take them to LinkedIn. We can connect there. But all of a sudden you've got a whole digital way, or you can send this digital business card. You can email it to somebody. So lots of ways to use the same piece of creative art that you've created, marketing piece, in different ways and in different places and spaces. Somebody asked about how would they share Canva with their team members. So I believe Canva Pro for nonprofit just give you up to like 50 licenses for your organization. So you would not be without Canva Pro licenses for your staff and some of your volunteers. You can see up here at the top on this one, I have a, I think this would work. I can add folks to this project. I have, let's see, I can create a group. We're going to call it Canva cohort. And then I'm going to add a member. Let's see if we can add somebody. I think I would have to invite you. So, oh, here we go. Collaboration. So I've got a link now. I'm going to put it in the chat just so you can try that at some point. If you have a second screen or something, feel free to do that, but you could click and then you can come in to this space, in this virtual space, and we could work together on this. Oh, so we got Volunteer Montgomery. Good job. Okay, so Volunteer Montgomery is in the same space with me right now. And who's Volunteer Montgomery?
I am.
Who said that? Hannah.
Hannah.
Awesome. Okay, so Hannah, you should be able to edit what's going on in here, I think, right? So you can select text. So Hannah and I can argue like in real time. And Hannah's like, no, it needs to look like this. And she can delete and I can come back and say, well, actually, you're not supposed to do that, right? But at any rate, we could in real time, she could change colors or put a picture in and we could collaborate in real time. Or I can leave and go do something and come back and we're all working on that same file. And then Hannah and I can roll out the final version together and say we're done. Saves a lot of time. You can put as many people as you want in this space. You can give them access to create, design, view only, offer comments. So Hannah could leave comments and feedback. And then just like Microsoft 365, you can kind of check the box on each of those comments and say whether you agree or not agree, made the edit, didn't make the edit, those kinds of things. Any questions about any of that? All right, I'm sort of mindful of time here, and I wanted to touch on overarching things that lots of people said brand new to Canva and just want to know how to get started. So there are a couple of websites that I want to highlight for you. Make sure I'm going to go to those. First of all, on YouTube, Canva has a whole bunch of well, they have their own channel and they have videos, shorts, and playlists. So under the playlists on Canva, you will find Canva for nonprofits or how to get started. So let me look for that. So if there's a search engine for every creator on YouTube versus just searching all of YouTube. So you could put in here nonprofit on Canva. And then it says Canva for nonprofit webinars. So we click this. I go back because I want to go to the playlist, the actual. All right, so there's a little, it doesn't look like a button, but it is. It says view full playlist. And then it has all the videos here for Canva for nonprofits. Anything like this, of course, there's a share button. And I'm going to copy this link and put it in the chat for you. And I would suggest that if you want to learn more, there's plenty to learn here. They've really done a nice job of having different length videos. You can watch something and, you know, spend an hour, half hour. But if all that seems overwhelmingly long, here's one on storytelling for nonprofits. And these videos none of them are longer than 15 minutes, right? So if you just want to brush up on storytelling, they've got a whole playlist of how to do that. And maybe you do that right before you have an event where you have to give a talk or a speech or pitch to a municipality about what makes your nonprofit something worth investing in. So that was one thing I wanted to draw your attention to, was this idea of YouTube is a great place to learn about anything, but there are lots of playlists right here on Canva. You can also find other creators and folks offering their own take on how to use Canva all over YouTube. If you find somebody that you just even like to listen to their voice or you like their style or whatever, that can make learning a whole lot more fun, I've found. So this is the page on how to apply for Canva for nonprofits. They also have a design school, and these courses are super simple. Canva for beginners is one, gets 5 stars from the folks that have used it, and over almost 300,000 people have used this little mini course. I put the link in the chat for that one. Wanted to make sure you have that. Does everybody know how to save the chat for a Zoom meeting? Generally, yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down. Lindsay does. Okay, Lindsay, when you guys send stuff out, do you send the chat?
I'm happy to.
Okay. The other thing I was doing was trying to create you guys a cheat sheet for some of this with some of these links in case that was useful, but if folks wanted it. Canva, of course, like any piece of software, has a help center. And again, somebody asked about translating text in Canva, so I had bookmarked this, but basically I wanted to show you that there's a help center and it's got a great search engine, and you just put in any question you have and you put it in here. Let's see, I'm gonna see if I can find a question somebody asked in the list. Let me see. Okay, somebody asked about editing photos. So I put in editing photos, and it says Canva photo editor. Magic Studio. Okay, so I can show you a little bit about that. So you click a photograph. So the question was actually, is Canva the best way to edit a photo? I suspect that anybody that works professionally with photographs would say no. Only because if you are a photographer and an expert in this field of photography and photo design, you're going to use a very high-end piece of software and photo editing tool. However, for the purposes of nonprofits that are working on lean budgets and one person is wearing 35 different hats to do this work, I think it's an amazing tool for photo editing. I think this picture here would be fine the way it is, but let's say we want it to be in a different style. So I've clicked the photograph, it's been selected here, and then you can see at the top there's a menu, pull this over here, of things I can do with this element being the photograph. And at the left, there's an edit button. I can click that edit button. And then there's a whole bunch, 100 different things I can do just with the photograph. So there are filters that I can put on the photograph. So I'm going to click those choices, and I think we can make him black and white. Let's see if we can make it better. So we can change it to a black and white photograph if we think it would be better to have not so much color attention to what's going on there, or something more fun, black and white with a pink background, right? But we're like, yeah, I don't know. That's probably not what I want to do. So again, don't forget, you've got this undo button. Greatest invention ever, right? I changed my mind. I'm going to go backwards on this. We're going to get back to where we started. Oh, went the wrong direction. You've even got a forward button. There we go. All right, so we still have that selected. I want to edit in a different way, so I'm going to click again that edit button. A pro feature that you will have access to is this BG remover, which means background remover. I would be able to click this photograph and remove everything in the background, leaving the gentleman here intact, but getting rid of everything in the background. I would just erase it. I don't have pro right now, so I can't do that. Let's see, what else can I do? Oh, so for free, let's see, there are all these options here. We'll say blur. So I can blur aspects of the photograph. So even on the free one, I can't get rid of the background, but I can sure blur everything around him. So all I have to do is select it and say blur that. And you can see how it blurs out a lot of the things. Now I'm using a big old brush here to do it, to try and do it quickly. But if you want to be precise, you can change that brush size down to really tiny and just trace it right next to his face and his ear. Or I can select the whole image and just blur it. Change my mind, remove the blur. Back to where we started. Any questions on that? No? Thank you, Lori, for at least not shaking your head. That's helpful. Let's see, what else? Look at the questions. I think there were some other websites that I wanted to. Canva for beginners, photo editor. So with the nonprofit, let me make sure I get to there. Oh, here we go. So on the page for nonprofits, Canva for nonprofits, there's this menu: nonprofits, overview, sustainable development goals, resources, crisis hub, and case studies. On the resources tab, which is the one I'm on now, they have this help out in time of crisis. So there's a crisis hub, which gives you sort of a set of templates that you might use all at one time to address something like flood relief or anything that might be. There's something here about doing billboards and particular areas like recruiting volunteers, raising funds, or promoting events. What I wanted to share with you was this choose a toolkit option. So you could pick any one of these toolkits. They're just basically all designed to look like they go together. So that's kind of nice. Let's pick something with purple. So once you pick that template, it's coming up here. I can say all templates. Oops, nope, I meant to do that. Go back to where I was. So these are all the templates in that kit. So here's one for an email. And again, this is all free. You just click. And this is the banner for an email. So gives you the option of creating something where you can change the text and make it, what month are we in? We're in July. Just change that. You can change the photograph. Let's say we don't want that photograph. When you see this background that looks like a landscape, that is a photo frame. And all you have to do is drop a photograph in here and it automatically sizes it. So we're going to change it to something else. Who else is in the room today? We've got New River Valley Agency on Aging. So let's put in just the word aging, and elderly we'll pick. So we find this, let's see if we can find one that's free. So this woman looking off into the distance, or somebody taking a selfie. So we just drag it over here and it drops right in and it sizes it. You see how that works? In terms of this logo, I'm going to ungroup this. And we can change this little logo here. I delete it. And then I can go to, I'll just say, again, an element. We'll say elderly. We need a graphic that represents the elderly. Here's one. It's black. It's hard to see against this background. So let's change it to white. There's that person. Somebody having a hard time walking. But these people aren't. Generally in design, you don't want somebody walking off the page or off the design. So this actually by a designer would be flipped. And the way you do that is you click, let's see, it's up at the top. So you select the image and up at the top, you'll see the menu. And I know some of this is probably really hard to see. I apologize. It's hard to do it on a virtual setting, but there's a button that says flip. I click that and flip it horizontal and boom, we've got our person walking with a cane is now walking to the right instead of walking off the page. There you go. They're walking toward the wording. Okay. We've got about 10 minutes left. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to touch on. Looking down here, there's one. I'm looking at your questions. So there was a question again about sharing things. So let's say we were going to share this flyer or print. All of those questions about how to share anything that you've created can be answered here with the different options you have. Again, you can create a public view link. You can present it as right now, just like it's, you can create similar to a PowerPoint presentation, you can create that in Canva and then present it from Canva and it can live there. You could create a kind of like a self-directed overview of your nonprofit and share a QR code with that link, that goes to that link. And then people could navigate a presentation all by themselves at their time, whenever they have the time to do that, about your nonprofit. Or you could present it in Canva to a group like we're doing today. So you just click present, do that, and now you see the whole thing as a slide. In terms of what size that you might want to share something, again, those questions can be answered here. You can download things as a Microsoft PowerPoint. You can message it to somebody, and then all of these apps that you see, many that maybe your nonprofit already works with, can be integrated to Canva in terms of sharing it to the software back and bi-directionally. So I'm going to stop sharing here because I want to see what questions. We just have a few minutes left. I told Lindsay I'd be happy to keep the room open if she's willing and answer specific questions. If somebody wanted to share a file or something, I could show you in Canva how to manipulate it, those kinds of things. But any final questions about Canva today? Any thoughts, any feedback, things you would like to do differently? I think we're good, Lindsay. I don't want to keep folks if they look very thoughtful this morning.
This has been so great, Lisa. For folks who have used Canva, are there any special tricks that you want to share that you found that might be useful? I'll share one that I like, when that grouping feature that Lisa was talking about. If you have a bunch of objects and text grouped together, or just a couple, you can make it bigger or smaller. You can move it around the page together, but the bigger or smaller piece has always been really useful for me if you're testing out text size, which I really appreciate. And the other piece I really appreciate is we've all been there when we haven't saved a document, and this is just saving it automatically, which is the best. So,
It's great. Yeah.
yeah.
You can also create folders and different filing systems in Canva, just like you would on your computer. So you can have a folder for every project, event, that kind of thing. You can create a brand kit so that everything, you can set a standard for your nonprofit so that everybody's using the same logos at the same resolution at the and the same brand colors, and nobody's going off creating something that doesn't match your brand, which happens in a lot of settings.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like I
Yeah,
said, I'm happy to stay and talk to folks if somebody had a particular question. I know it's a lot to take in and it's hard to see it online, but please feel free to reach out to me if you have a particular question. I'll put my email in the chat, and you are welcome to send a question. If you have something, I'll try to answer it. Otherwise, I'll send you the right link to the right tutorial.
How do we save the chat, Lisa?
Ah, good question.
I'll save it. I'll send it to you all after the meeting.
Yeah, so for future reference, Laura, you would, so click to the chat and you'll see a down, there's a menu at the bottom, and there's 4 icons on mine. And then there's a little, wait a second, I'm sorry, at the top, there are 3 dots at the top. You see that?
Yep.
Okay, so click those 3 dots, and at the very top, the first thing on that drop down menu says Save Chat.
Got it.
There you go. And that's how you could save it in any meeting. I would encourage folks to use the chat, you know, when you're doing an event, and then folks can share a variety of things.
So where did it save it to? Did it save it to my desktop, or where did it save it to?
So on mine, if you click the 3 dots and you say Save Chat, at the bottom of the chat, it says Chat Saved. For briefly, it says Chat Saved, Show in Finder, and you click that blue thing that says Show in Finder, and it'll show you where it is.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, that's a good question. It's a good question. I have taught many people in many meetings how to do that. It's helpful.